Hello everyone and welcome back to my valley. I'm Nolan and today we're going to continue the guide on how to use companions in Dreamsnaps. If you missed the first guide, I will leave here the link to the first part. In this video, we will show a new way of using companions through companions' homes. I hope to remain clear and objective. I will try to explain each step in detail. It is not a guide just to show the method, but to understand it. Basically, there will be two different ways, each one being explained with an example for better understanding. So let's get to work. To continue, the first thing we must do is get a companion house. There are some options for this. The simplest and most accessible for everyone is crafting it using a work table. There are two versions to craft. The first option is Cozy Companion Home. It is available right at the beginning of the game. It will become available after finding the materials used in construction. You need to go to a work table and look for the schematic in the Functional Items tab and find the Cozy Companion Home in the list. You will need 15 softwood, 5 sunflowers and 5 white and red hydrangeas and 1 topaz.
Work complete.
Work completed. Now the Cozy Companion Home is ready for use. The second option is Tropical Companion Home. This option requires a Rift in Time expansion. The procedure to craft it is the same. The necessary items are 15 tropical wood, 10 bamboo, 1 spinel, and 3 green glass-like flowers. Work completed. Now Tropical Companion Home is ready for use. There are two more options for companion homes, however they are sold in the premium store. So they will cost moonstones, and they are not always available due to the weekly item rotation. But once you unlock it, it becomes available at Scrooge McDuck's store and it will only cost 480 gold, which ends up making it much easier to acquire several units since it will not be necessary to spend as many resources as the previous craftable options. So far we have two options in this modality. One of the newer options is Haihe's house. Haihei is an interesting companion, but here we will only talk about his house. It has an interesting appearance, but the size is exactly the same as other companion homes, occupying a 4x4 space, which won't help placing the companions any easier. The other option is Zero's house. In my opinion, this is the best companions homes of all, taking into account its use in Dreamsnap for the simple fact that it occupies a 2x2 space. The smaller the house, the less items will be needed to manipulate the companions, greatly reducing the time spent organizing the companion's position, but this will only be demonstrated in future guides. For this guide, any option is good, as it will only deal with the basics, and appearance also won't matter much since most of the time the companion home will be outside the Dreamsnaps area, not being visible in the photo. Now that we have the companion's home ready, we can proceed. Basically, we will be placing companions through their home. Although it seems simple, this procedure has its variations as well as hidden features that most people cannot easily understand. Let's start with the most basic form that is most common among players. The first step is to place the companion's home, enter build mode, and open the Essentials section and search for Cozy Companion Home. When you find it, select and build wherever you want. Now, interact with it and choose the desired companion. Once you complete the selection and close the screen, it will appear on the map. Very simple, right? The companion will randomly walk a certain distance from the home. Please note that you can add more companions. You can use up to 4 companions per house. Just like before, all companions will walk randomly around their home house. Let's do an example to see how we can use what has been shown so far. In this example, I will only use the front area of Dreamsnaps. I have previously isolated the area and placed a companion home at each end. When working with companions, it is very important to delimit the area. In the future, I will give more details on how to do this. For now, I just want you to focus on the fact that there are 2 designated areas, a blue area on the left and a red area on the right. This example will only serve to show that each companion will prefer to walk on the side close to their house. Now let's take an aerial view of the Dreamsnaps area. I would like to show it to give you an idea of the area I'm working on and where I position the companion's house. This is the area where I have placed objects to limit where the companions can access. And now this is the area that I made available for the companions to walk around. Let's put a blue fox on the left side and a red one on the right. It's time to observe their behavior. Let's go into camera mode. As you can see, each fox tends to stay in its own area. Although the blue fox almost enters the red area, it ends up stopping beforehand. Let's fill the house on the left with blue companions. And the house in the right with red ones. Let's go into back in camera mode and observe their behavior again. As you can see, the pattern repeats itself. The red and blue animals continue to stay on their own side, even when they are being pushed. This is interesting because, if a player wants to use this method, he can slightly delimit the area that companions can reach with the positioning of the house. Let's look at the problems of using so many companions in this way. If you notice in the background, the red ones are starting to get stuck with each other. After some time observing the behavior of companions, we can now conclude with some advantages and disadvantages of this method in this form. The advantages. It is a very easy and simple method. You choose which companion will appear. You can get photos with natural companion positions. It is very easy to place a large number of companions at once. Disadvantages. It is chaos. Control over companions is minimal. It will take a long time to get a decent photo. It is very difficult to take the same photo more than once. Conclusion. Despite having the possibility of taking very good photos, this common way of using companions is not ideal for Dreamsnaps, often becoming a waste of time. It can be very time-consuming and difficult to take the same photo twice to adjust something. This method will be interesting if you don't care how the companions are positioned, and you simply want to use companions to fill a Dreamsnaps area. Now let's go back a little and start to understand things better. Remember when I said that there were a lot of hidden things that most players didn't notice in the simple fact of placing their companion on the map? Now let's start exploring part of this. To begin with, let's repeat the process of placing the companion on the map. No big deal so far, right? But let's do this in a slightly different way, and pay close attention. We are going to surround the companion's house with fences and leave only 2 spaces available. One space so that our avatar can interact with the house and another empty space. Our avatar's space is counted as an occupied space. Note that I left 2 spaces at the top. In one of them I will place an item. The other will be my position. I'm doing this because if I put the fence and leave only 1 space free, I may have problems interacting with the house later. The game will try to place companion in the free space closest to the house, but everything is occupied except the one we purposely left empty, so the game is forced to place the companion exactly in that spot. Interesting, right? Keep this information. It will be very useful from now on. Remember in the previous guide where I said that when we entered construction mode, the companion remained in the same place, even if we couldn't see? So now let's do the following. Let's try to leave him imprisoned in this location that we chose as the companion's point of origin by placing items around that it cannot walk through. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's move the house and complete the prison. With little work, the companion is exactly where we wanted him to be. Now let's simplify it a little and remove a few more items. To keep it in position, we will only need 4 occupied spaces, that is, 4 items. As seen in the previous example, the companion always stays close to the house, but what happens if we move the house? That's right, the companion will try to get to the house, but he won't be able to walk because he's stuck, so he'll just turn to the position the house is in. This is one of my secrets for dealing with companions. If you change the direction of the house, the companion will also change direction. If the house is placed back too close to the companion, it may move in random directions. So far, I have shared 3 important points with you in this guide. The first is that they will always try to stay close to their home. The second is how to place a companion at a specific point, and the third is that companions remain stationary in construction mode. This seems very silly, but let's put it into practice with an example. They promised me a sunny beach. They just forgot to warn me that it would be freezing. Well, let's get this over with, or I'll end up turning to ice. This example will be very simple. I just want to replace the snowballs with 2 companions and make them look forward. To do this, I will basically have to repeat the processes that I explained before. Enter construction mode, place the pet houses and place items or fences around them, leaving only one free space where the companion should appear. In this example, the free space is where the snowballs are positioned. As they are an object that can be passed through, it will count as free space. Note that as it is a decorated area, so I will need to use the existing decor as part of the barrier around the pet house. If I move the companion house a little, it will give me an idea of the occupied spaces. After that, I have to manually reach these spaces and determine the items that do allow characters or critters to pass through. If I find an item like the pineapple that allows it to be crossed, I will have to move it. After that, just finish isolating the pet house with a fence or items. Repeat the process with the other pet house. At this point specifically, I noticed that the fence couldn't go under the umbrella, so I decided to get a decorative item to finish the prison. Always remember to leave space to interact with your home companions. Your character's space will count as occupied space. I ended up getting stuck when leaving building mode, but as there are no companions on the map yet, this wasn't a problem. If the situation was complicated, I could simply teleport and walk back. Now it's time to choose companions. Note that I'm using one house for each companion. This is good for being able to control the positioning of the pet individually. Check if the correct companion is actually in the desired area, and then enter construction mode to move the pet's house away and trap it with items that preferably match the Dreamsnap. Note that the ice cream cart, despite taking up a lot of space, has an occupied area that is practically invisible on the side. These items are great to use as they will give the illusion that your companion is free. Repeat the process with the second companion. Move the house and remember to close the prison on 4 sides, preferably with Dreamsnap's own decoration. Remember to put the decoration you moved back in place. Adjust where the companion will look by changing the house position. Now everything is ready. The companions are in fixed position waiting for the photo. The time has come to evaluate this variation of method 2, so let's see what the advantages and disadvantages are. Advantages. When used with a few companions, it is easy and quick. Great control over your companion. You can repeat the photo several times. Disadvantages. When used with many companions, it will be complicated. It's not as easy as the previous example. Changing the scenario can be difficult. You will have to think a lot about how to trap companions. Limits companion animations. Conclusion. Despite many disadvantages, this method is ideal for Dreamsnaps. It allows very high control over your companions, which allows you to take similar photos very easily, in addition to saving a lot of time compared to the previous example. And so we conclude the second part of the guide. I still have more tips and I will make more guides in the future. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching and see you next time.